thank you all for tuning in. We have two special guests tonight that we're so excited about. A true excited. Yes,
this is fun. Yes. We got guests. People actually want to be on our little podcast.
Yes, our first guest, y'all. We have Mr. JP and Mrs. Danielle DeTeach.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both so much for being on our podcast and being an exemplary example of Black love and unity. We are so excited to talk to y'all tonight. And so, again, the purpose of the Aware Black Woman podcast is to dismantle the strong Black woman persona and to help our Black women release the cape. We really want them to have a safe space where they can elevate their mindset and know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask questions. Some of us did not come from upbringings where, we felt safe in masculine energy. We've been surrounded by a lot of toxic masculinity sometimes. And so we want to change that. We want to elevate that. Mm-hmm. So we want to thank, Mr. Mike for being on the podcast, being a co-host, and also Mr. Hubby, who we call, who's JP, that we affectionately call Mr. Hubby. We want to thank them both for being on here. And then my girl, my friend, my bestie, Danielle. Y'all, let me tell y'all, I met Danielle, just a very quick story, right after COVID. And we hit it off because her name was Danielle and my name was Danielle, not really knowing how my life would change meeting her. She is really a force, y'all. She is like a fierce force to be reckoned with. But she always says, I'm the calm Danielle, that's the extra Danielle. She's very
we balance each other out. We balance each other out. We bring the energy that the other needs. And that's what I love about our friendship.
Yin and yang.
Yin and yang.
Yes,
but Danielle, before we move any further, I want to shout her out for all of her amazing work that she does on her own platform. She has the Nola Party Boutique, and more importantly, she has her coaching business where I have experienced her coaching firsthand. I took the calendar detox, y'all, and that's why I look so good, because I learned to have.
You should have seen her before this.
Right?
She was a hot mess.
She was always beautiful. She's just a little more relaxed.
Yes, and really, honestly, Mike had just looked at a picture in my office and he said, "How old were you on this picture?" And I was like, that was 5 years ago.
She's like a female Benjamin Button.
Like, that was 5 years ago. I was very stressed. That was before Danielle's calendar detox. So I do look like a much younger version of myself, even though I'm getting older. And I attribute that to Danielle. I always give her a shout out on that. So when you're done listening to the podcast, please go visit her platform and enroll in the calendar detox. She has the Confident and Capable
Confident Challenge as well.
Capable Confident Challenge. She has so many amazing things on her platform. And let me tell you, Danielle is a mega mind. 5 minutes with her is worth more than gold. I'm telling you, she would get your life all the way together. So please go visit her platform. Okay, now
I would ask if I took it, if it would make my hair grow back, but I can see he lives with you. And he's married
Mike, I make a lot of promises. That's not one of them.
But she'll teach you how to
I know you
did with your bald head for sure.
Right. I am. You know what? I know you do a wonderful job.
Danielle is amazing.
Let's get digging in.
Yeah, I'm so glad she's my friend. Okay, so now we're headed into the other thing that I want to say about Danielle. Okay, Black women are often labeled as aggressive, brash, rude, hard, right? But Danielle is the epitome of softness. Mm-hmm. She is so calm. Like, she is really the calmest Black
I know when I met her.
I know. Okay.
I mean, just as a person, I thought she was
She's very calm. She's radiant and she's very magnetic. And I think that she needs a class for feminine energy. But I'm going to, let her speak on feminine energy tonight and talk about how she maintains her softness, because she's a go-getter. She's very ambitious, but she also has a real softness about her. So the first thing that we're going to talk about diving into this platform is, how have you all experienced the strong Black woman persona? And what does that mean for you? And our goal of this podcast is to help women, Black women in particular, embrace their softness while being the go-getters, while achieving, embrace the softness, attract healthy masculine love, experience the dynamic that you all have in your life, and tell us, how can we get our Black women to this place where they can attract a masculine man like Mr. Hubby?
So I would say, just starting off, like the strong Black woman, we all experience that. Like, that's how we are raised, right? And I want to be mindful to say our mothers, our grandmothers, our ancestors did that for a reason. It was a necessity for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to be that to get to navigate space. But now we're in a place where we have to pick from what we're taught and figure out what actually still is relevant, right? And sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we can't receive because of how we're presenting. And so we, come into spaces and we are carrying masculine energy. So where's the space for the man to enter? Where is that? I appreciate my grandmother. Anybody knows me knows my grandmother is like my everything, for not only teaching me how to be strong, but also teaching me how to be dainty and understanding, if I go into a space and there's something that needs to be picked up or lifted, I'm standing there and I'm looking to see when the nicest gentleman is about to pass, because that was how I was raised. You're not supposed to, if there's a man present as a woman, you're not supposed to be, picking up anything heavy or doing the role of a man, whether it's your man or not.
That's interesting that you say that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of women that I don't care for chivalry. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, I don't mind opening up the door for a woman. I don't mind pulling out a chair. I mean, do I do it on the daily, every single time? I'm not going to lie and say that I do. But I mean, I do open up the door. I like to treat. I do like to treat my woman not as a trophy or a possession, but it's just somebody I love. And I don't think that I think that chivalry has become, I don't know what label it is these days, but it's misogynistic. It's this, that, or the other. I don't know what you call it nowadays, but it toxic masculinity comes to mind. That and it's almost like I'm scared. I'm not scared to do this with my wife, because I'll hold the door. She doesn't come at me with that. But I feel like some men are afraid that they're going to get labeled as having toxic masculinity.
No, I totally agree with you. When you were saying that, it brought me back to a situation when I was employed and we had some furniture that needed to be moved. And I sent out a, mass email, and I'm like, can I get, a few gentlemen to come move this furniture? And I had this young lady come to, she was at my door immediately. Why does it have to be? Oh, I mean, if you want to move it, more power to
break your back, go ahead.
But I think it becomes this like tug of war of trying to prove that you can do it all, right? And the reality is, you don't have to wear on your shoulder everything you're capable of.
Right. Oh, that's very good.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I think, in general,
but tell us your perception of the strong Black woman, and then proceed from there.
My perception of the strong Black woman. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anything's wrong with being strong, but that strong Black woman trope or stereotype has, kind of taken it to the extreme, because I think women want to be seen as equal, right? They don't want to be seen as lesser by men, but being equal doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the same, right? You could be equal and still, be different and have your different roles. And I think, that's where
so that good. We need an audience, so we gotta work on it. We're gonna work on it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it's just what I was like. You can be, it's okay for everybody to play a different role and still have equal value. But I think women are scared that people are going to look down on them or judge them or not see them as equal. You know, some women, if they're not trying to do the same thing a man does, kind of thing.
So can you help us? One of the things that we have seen in the comments, we have maybe like a split between women that have experienced healthy masculinity in males, like the dynamic that you have, and then we have women that have experienced not so healthy dynamics, primarily because the men that they ended up falling in love with maybe came from a single mom household where they saw their mom being a protector and a provider, and then they end up in relationship expecting the woman to do it all and not being in their masculine energy and performing the tasks that they're supposed to, and then the relationship falls apart. So can you help us address some of the maybe not necessarily toxic, but the upbringing that the Black male has experienced? How can we elevate from that? How can we elevate our males and get them into provider thinking, protector mentality, and boost our women back into the delicate flowers that all other women are seen as? How can we create that balance again, moving the strong Black woman from the extreme to now I have a soft power. I know how to use my femininity in a way that men see me as something that they want to protect and provide for, and not a threat, or not someone that they have to go toe to toe with, but she can actually have her own individuality while I maintain mine, but the masculine and the feminine duality is present.
So I think similar to what Danielle said, my Danielle said
Yeah.
about you know how women were brought up, you know, and their moms and ancestors had to teach them to be strong for survival. I think, you know, a lot of men have been brought up without that example provided to them. And, you know, again, no judgment because life happens. Everybody's situation is different, but you have to be able to acknowledge that, okay, I didn't have that example. I saw my mom having to play, not me personally, but in that situation, you saw your mom having to play that role of, you know, masculine and feminine, you know, protector and nurturer, you know, and that may not be serving you now. That's not the example that you should necessarily follow.
That's very, very good. Thank you. And so how do we, and so I know that you both may be able to answer this question together. How do we flip this dynamic now? Because, you know, this strong Black woman persona, it came from so far back, you know, slavery, when our men were being sent off, and now the woman has to take care of of the kids. And not only were the women having to do that, but they had to face other things like being abused and used by the master, and, you know, being sent outside to do the field work, but then coming back inside and have to do the inside work. So it made us very, like, we're not here because we want to be this way. We're here because this is embedded in our DNA. Like, this is how we've had to survive. So now that we've created this platform and this safe space, how do we help women make the shift from, okay, I no longer want to operate in survival mode. I want to get into a place where not necessarily to just attract a partner, but to be the best me. You know, how can I provide these maybe masculine structures for myself so that I can enter this soft girl era, right? And be the soft version of me that attracts a man that wants to provide and protect me. And how can men, I know I'm asking a lot, but how can men make the shift? Because we really try to figure this out. So, and then how can men make the shift from, you know, expecting women to be the provider and the protector and the nurturer and all the things to, now I'm healthy and I want to give? Because I feel like a masculine man wants to give to their woman. They want to serve. They want to provide and protect her, make her feel safe, elevate her, all of these things. So how do we get our men to make the shift to more masculine, and our women to shift out of the masculine to more feminine? I know that's a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna try. Okay, so I would say the first and foremost, is to learn how to truly be a partner, regardless of if you're the man, the woman, to truly be a partner in a situation. Because, you know, I think for me, it definitely took a process to release that idea of I have to do it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to, like that energy. It's a
Can you tell
process.
us a little bit about that process? Because we have some women watching that are really going through that process. I mean, I even have to go through that process. So, can you tell us a little bit about that process? Because I know it may have been a little more difficult for you because you had to do it within a relationship, within a marriage. And there are women that are watching that are really having to make this shift within their marriages. Otherwise, it's going to collapse. Like, so can you just give us a little bit about that shift that you had to make that process?
I think part of it, like I started with just how you teach people how to treat you. So instead of coming with that energy, I got it, I could do it. I can do a whole lot of things, but that doesn't mean that I have to. So I need to give space for JP to come in and do what he needs to do, right? And I need to be able to accept that. I need to be able to fall back and understand, one, I think the biggest problem there is that I deserve it, right? Because I deserve to be treated like a princess. I don't even say queen, right? Because a queen, that's some work. A princess just gets to sit.
I have a question.
I agree.
I have a question. Okay, you said, and I'm just going by what you said. That you need to teach somebody how you want to be treated.
Yes.
Okay, now are you treating that person that you're teaching how you want to be treated the way that you want to be treated?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean,
absolutely. No, it goes, and that's why I say you have to learn how to be a partner.
Right.
Because, I know people say, happy wife, happy life, and that is true. But you also have to look out.
Happy spouse, happy house.
Right. That's where I'm getting to. You also have to look out for all pieces of it, right? So, like, for example, with us, JP is very laid back. He's not going to make a fuss about a lot of things. So I have to be extra mindful of that and pay attention to certain things to make sure that he doesn't get lost in the process of like all of the things that are going on, because he is a protector and a provider. He's going to make sure that I'm taken care of, that Noah's taken care of, that Walter's taken care of, but I got to make sure that he's taken care of, right? So it is really about a partnership. It's really about realizing that, especially as Black people, we have so many things against us every day when we walk into the world. We are, microaggressions, racism, all of that is out there every day. When we come home, we done fighting. The fight was with that person in this situation and whatever. That was the fight, but your home should be peace.
I agree. Right.
Your home should be absolute peace.
And no matter the plight, bad, horrible job, whatever it may be. I mean, you should be able to come home, and that is supposed to be your safe space.
Right.
And and just for the record, I knew you didn't mean it, but I also like to ask because I'm a question. I'm a question.
No. I'm always open to the dialogue, because that's how we get this out there, and I wouldn't want somebody to walk away and misunderstand that. You know what I'm saying?
Because some men may say, "Oh, she just wants to train her man," and JP's just a trained man, and I know that.
No. When people ask us, because we've been together since high school. We've been together since high school. We just celebrated 21 years of marriage.
Nice.
And when people ask us, how have you been together that long? How have you stayed happy that long? The reality is we grew up together in this relationship. So we learned each other, and then we continue to learn each other, because we are not the same people we were when we were 15. We are constantly evolving, but we continue to learn each other, and we continue to be partners. So I think that that's the part we're missing. We're so amped up fighting out in the world. that we just don't know how to disarm ourselves when we get home and understand that it's not us against each other, it's
Right.
us against the world.
Right. It
And
is.
you get
It
on
is.
social media and it's like, oh, black women ain't and black men ain't and you get into those conversations and it's like, no, we need to be building each other up, not
Right. Right.
tearing each other down.
And I mean, at the end of the day, in a perfect world, we all need to be building each other up. But
Right.
I mean, that's just not going to happen. So you really have to, you shouldn't be fighting in your relationship. You should be fighting for your relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
And in terms of Danielle going through that process, I think as I grew in my own maturity and my own self-confidence and being the protector, provider, taking care of her was always important to me. But as I learned to do that better, I think it also gave her space to release some of that responsibility that she felt to do everything, to release some of the stress, that the strong black woman carries around. It's, I got to do everything or I ain't gonna get done. I think a man has a role to let me carry some of that burden so you can have space to be the princess, to be soft, to pick up those traits.
Absolutely. And this is a very detrimental question I want to ask you is we have discussed black men and the way they're brought up and their community and that sort of thing. And be it as it may, JP, me and you are guys. We both like the same things. We're both people. We're both men. But in our communities, we are raised differently. I think that Helen Keller could probably see that. But with that being said, what is your take on that? I mean, was you raised in a household where basically you had expected a princess or princess treatment? I mean, were you raised in that kind of and if you were, what did you do to break that chain? Or do you know people that have?
Yeah, I was raised, in a two-parent household.
Okay. And that says a lot.
Very
That's
traditional
great.
type of family. So I guess I didn't carry that, that additional challenge with me. I mean, it's tough to, I don't know that there's an easy answer for, what should men be doing to get past that. It's, it's a personal, it's, something that, you got to constantly be working on yourself. I do think a lot of men are driven by, what women expect of them, right? If a woman will accept laziness or accept, bad treatment, then they might, do that, and
You're
it shouldn't be the case.
100% right.
It's not it's, it shouldn't be the woman's responsibility to fix you, right? To set those expectations. But yeah, I don't,
Right.
I don't think
that's
there are easy
great,
answers.
man.
I think it's both an individual shift that, has to happen, and to some extent a cultural shift that, in our black community that we need to improve on.
What advice can we give to the strong black woman? What can we express to her that will help her make the shift immediately after watching us? And also for the black men watching this, maybe the black man wasn't aware of all the ways that his role has influenced what we feel as black women. How can he now make the shift?
Oh, I was gonna go. Okay. So what I was gonna say is self-awareness is where you really have to start. You have to start with self-awareness.
Aware
I
black
think
woman.
Yes.
The aware black woman, right? You have to start there. A lot of times we talk about our partner and what they need to do. We have to look within first and figure out what it is we need to do. And we have to be accountable, right? So for instance, the shift in my life that was actually the catalyst for the calendar detox was when my grandmother passed away. So my grandmother passed away, and even before she passed away, I went into like a depression. Nobody could help me because I never let anybody help me before. It wasn't because they didn't want to. And I could see the look on his face of like, what can I do? But it was in that moment that I realized I had never really let anybody help me. And so now the people that love me the most did not know how. And so we have to own that. We have to own that there are side effects to this strong black woman trope. And we have to start to relax it. And then we have to realize where there's help. Because we like to holler, I don't have, nobody checks on me. I don't have friends. I don't have, we like to do that. But a lot of times the help is right there. Whether it's, in a relationship, whether it's in a friendship. I didn't been cussed out so many times by somebody that was like, why you didn't call me? When, because it didn't even cross my mind to call and ask for help. So we have to start unraveling that for ourselves. And then as far as like partnership and relationship, we have to understand what the end goal is, right? Because most things we get confused when we don't have a clear mission. We in this forever. And so, we joke about it. Oh, you mad? Okay, go in the other room, come out when you're ready to talk about it. Because we're in this forever. When you don't have that thought process, then you start to let little things get in between you, as opposed to, okay, yes, I'm mad at him right now. Yes, I want to throw something at him right now, but I also love him and he is also a good person. And so is this thing big enough to blow this up, or is this just, what? Let me calm down. And when I can calm down, we can have a conversation and we can work this out, because I love you just as much as I love myself.
Oh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
We need the audience. We need the clappers. We need that. All right. Mr. Hubby. Mr. Hubby.
I heard you say, what can the person do immediately after watching this?
The black guy.
Yeah, whether it's the black guy or the black woman. But yeah, I think one thing people have to realize is it's not immediate. It's a journey, right? You're not gonna listen to this podcast and be a completely different person tomorrow. You have to work at it.
Well, then we're not gonna do this anymore.
No, they gotta come back. Wait, they gotta come back every week, because it is a journey and y'all are on this journey with them.
It is. Go ahead. I'm sorry, JP. That's just who I am, man.
I know.
No, but that journey of working on yourself is, it's get 1% better tomorrow. Pick whether it's, offering that, being that supportive, whether it's, raise, as a woman, if she needs to raise her expectations, whether it's working in your relationship, if you're constantly thinking about it and constantly thinking, okay, how can I handle a situation better? And it's a journey. It takes time, but you'll get there.
I absolutely agree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you can't take a seed and get a tomato plant tomorrow. It's just one of them things. You have got to put some work into it, and it's not going to happen. I saw this thing where there was a guy leaning up against a shovel, and it said, God will give you a shovel. You can ask God for something, and He'll help you out. But you might have to basically dig the hole on your own.
Right,
he might make the ground a little softer, and he might provide you with a shovel, but you're going to have to do something. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to really reflect on, and I think that would, just to piggyback on what you're saying, it is a journey. And I think part of that is just reflecting and taking accountability, mm-hmm. and, making yourself responsible, taking accountability for, hey, you know what? If there's going to be a change, then I got to be part of this change.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges is, as you're on that journey and as you start to change, yourself, the people around you may or may not receive that well. Some people, are there for you and will support it.
Absolutely
people,
right.
Even if they do support you, it may be a challenge for them too. As they're part of that journey. But some people may reject it, and that's something you can't let that discourage you. You got to keep working on yourself anyway. We have the benefit that we've been working on this relationship for a long time. Danielle says that it's a strong relationship. We've had rocky moments. We weren't the most mature people. Well, I guess I'll speak for myself. I wasn't the most mature person in the relationship early on, but like I say, you keep progressing every day. And Just
You're
go about
absolutely
life.
right. I was married for 25 years, and I got divorced. We had a wonderful Facebook marriage.
Mm.
That doesn't mean I didn't love my ex-wife. There were times that she gave me butterflies, and I would assume that there were times that I gave her butterflies as well. Um, I feel like we, at some point in time, um, I definitely made, I made, I did things that were not what I should have been doing as a married man. And I can't speak, I'm not going to speak on her behalf. I'm just going to speak on my behalf that I didn't take that journey. I didn't fight. I didn't, there was a lot of things that I didn't do. And it sounds like that's things that you guys are doing. And I think that's I applaud you for that, because
Yes.
a relationship is so hard. It's one of the hardest things. Marriage is tough.
Yeah, and I think
And
that I was gonna say, I think that people don't say that enough. I think that people think it's just supposed to be like,
Like
roses
automatic.
and automatic, and people, when it's not, then people think that there's something wrong, but
Mhm.
it takes work. Like anything else, anything worth having is going to require some work. And what I want to make sure I don't leave here without saying is communication.
It's
I
big.
find it so odd sometimes, like I'll, be talking to somebody, like girlfriend or something like that, and they're talking about something that's going on in their relationship. And I'm like, well, so what did he say about it? And he's like, oh, well, huh? Well, what you telling me for? I can't, like, I'm not in the relationship. I can't do anything about it. There's nothing wrong with venting. Of course, you have your circle, you have your support, but when I tell people all the time, I say, if I'm mad at JP, you know who's going to be the first person to know, the second person, and the last person to know? Him. Because that's the only person that I can work this out with. I can go and run and tell everybody in town that I'm upset about this thing that happened. But until me and him sit down and have a conversation, not an argument, but a conversation about what's going on and why I'm upset about this, or why this is, problematic, or, you know, I mean, I might end up being wrong at the end, sometimes.
You guys heard it's on record.
But I'm just saying, like, until you have that communication, that's what I love about our relationship, is that we can sit down and have a conversation about something. And even sometimes when the conversation gets ugly, we gonna sit in the thick of it until we get to some resolution. So, don't walk around expecting somebody to know what's on your mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
A lot
that's
of people
very
make
good.
That is good. That is good. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that that's why I believe that you two have such great purpose work together. I know I keep saying this and y'all probably rolling your eyes and all, but there are not a lot of couples that know how to navigate conflict.
Yeah, I think
There are not a lot of women that know how to even talk to their man to get to a resolution. Because again, with the strong black woman persona, unfortunately, we have women that yell at men, that emasculate men, that just become very ugly and not get the outcome that they're looking for or hoping for, because they haven't communicated that. They're communicating from such a hurt place in a hurt way. And so not only do women have to learn how to evolve and communicate with men in a way that we can be heard, the men also have to learn how to stand in their power and create safe space for women to communicate their emotions without becoming defensive or condescending or dismissive or trying to put the woman back in her place for having feelings. Like, we need those tools to learn to navigate.
I would say that's men in general, but I mean, obviously, if we're if it's applicable to this conversation, yes. But men in general, there's a lot of men that will not. If you say something to them, they get all they get butthurt about it. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
It just, and there's women that are that way too. But I think the biggest part is it sounds like that JP responds when you have something to say. It's just when you're having that communication and you're trying to have that communication and it's not reciprocated with a response.
That's why we need them. That's my point. We need them.
Yeah.
Because we need more from y'all. Like whether it be a book or a podcast or something, we have to teach other couples, in particular Black couples, how to navigate this dynamic. Because this culturally, this is not the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
My mom says I use cuss words because those words get me justice. She has, in her mind, she thinks that cuss words get her justice. You understand? And so it's a lot of women that feel that way, that I'm not heard unless I'm cussing, unless I'm loud, unless I'm flipping tables. Nobody hears me because we have been, Black women.
And I applaud you because you're trying to make
I am trying.
That you are. I mean, you have. And you're trying to help others to do the same,
right?
Letting them know that, hey, we don't have to be this.
We don't have to operate this way.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, and so that's why we need Danielle and JP. We need more from y'all. We need more because this podcast today was so amazing, and I feel like we need a part 2. I don't feel like we're done. Mm-hmm. I feel like
probably not. No, we're definitely gonna have them back for sure.
We need to.
Danielle, we're not going nowhere, so.
I know,
you can always call us back.
You know where to find us. Deep, because I feel like you all have so many answers. I think the questions that I'm asking that may feel complicated to a lot of people, it's just like, self-nature to y'all. Like, that's easy, but people are really scrambling for these answers, and they're going to the wrong people. They're listening to the wrong people trying to get answers, and they're wondering why they're still on the hamster wheel or still in this toxic cycle because they're not hearing from wise counsel. Mm-hmm. Like they met each other as high school sweethearts. They've evolved together, and that's such a healthy dynamic to me. Because
that is, and I really liked what you said, Danielle, about we grew up together, and when me and my ex was together, my oldest is from her first marriage, but I've raised my oldest since she's been 3. She's mine. I'm not going to go into I believe in package deals. We're just going to say that if you get a woman with a child, it's a package. That child is yours too. So that is at any rate. I do believe that part of why it may have been an issue with us is we were parents a lot and not so much mates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing. She's a good woman. She's a wonderful mother. I have nothing, no issues with her or anything like that. But I think if I was to go back and look at maybe we put the being husband and wife on the back burner, we ended up being parents, and we didn't really think about each other in terms of how we were supposed to. And then you throw in just basic physical intimacy, and then you talked about the communication. That is so key. That is a big thing. I mean, I applaud you on that. I really do, because 2 people that can have communication and sit there and have the hard conversations and still come out of it, man, that's good. Kudos to you. Chef's kiss. That's good.
I encourage y'all to create a blueprint for that. Really, seriously. And I think we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Do y'all have anything else that y'all want to leave with our audience that you feel they need to know?
I'm gonna piggyback on what JP said a moment ago about just it takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your partner. If you know that you're not even close to being there, then maybe it's not time to pursue a partner, right? Like, work on you and figure that out first, and so that you can come into the space, a little more prepared. But understand that we're trying to unravel generations of trauma, right? So it's not going to happen overnight. You mentioned your mom and the cussing. There's this thing, like, if you get into deep study of like systemic racism, it's called exaggerated visibility. And that's why we loud. That's why we, popping off, when things happen, is because you haven't been seen. So I'm going to make myself be seen. So I think part of that too is understanding your history, diving into that stuff to understand why you are doing certain things, or communication being tough because you never had the language. No one has given you that language, right? So if you haven't had the language, how do you then have it when you need it? So, I'm gonna do a shameless plug on my girl and her new book, and her program that she has coming up, the Queen Order Sanctuary, because you need to get into those spaces where you are really intentionally uncovering a lot of this stuff. Because otherwise you will continue those cycles and you don't know why things are going like it is, because deep down you're just looking for love, right? You're looking to be loved, honored, protected.
We all are.
But you don't know why you're not receiving that. And sometimes you don't realize it's what the world sees on the surface that is making people, pull back, because they're seeing the toughness and they don't know that there's a softness inside.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I guess if I to piggyback on what Danielle said about unraveling those generations of trauma, and I think one thing everyone in relationships in general should keep in mind is we are all products of our experiences. We're all products of our history. Even if your partner did something to upset you, if you think of them as a whole person, and that doesn't, not to excuse bad behavior, that's not to solve the problem, but it gives you a little more perspective and a little more, comfort in dealing with them to help resolve it.
Yeah, that's very true, man. I mean, you're right. At the end of the day, I'm just gonna roll it out right in front of us. God made marriage. He said one flesh, and whole people, one person. And I mean, and that's just, maybe if we just went back to that line of thinking, that and that's for a whole new podcast. But I agree with you 100%, JP. You have to look at them as a whole person, and at the end of the day, we got to give the same grace that we want.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to Doc and Mike's podcast, The Aware Black Woman. I know that your hearts are full, your mind is full with everything that you've heard today from our amazing guests, Mr. JP and Danielle.
It was great.
They did amazing.
It was wonderful. We're definitely gonna have to have you back.
We have to have a part 2. Yeah. And what I would suggest is to listen to this on repeat, because there are so many things that I'm going to be re-listening for, to help me elevate, because I'm constantly trying to elevate my mindset, as well as, you all out there. And I know that you two is just so beautiful to see a healthy couple that's on a growth journey. I don't see any signs of codependence here. They're both individually their own person coming together, creating this whole beautiful Black love that we all admire. And we're so grateful for you all sharing your insights and your expertise. We are looking forward to more from y'all. Okay, we need to see. I know Mr. JP is like, I'm behind the scenes, I'm supporting Danielle, but you have so much, Mr. JP, that our world needs. We need to see more positive Black men that are really holding it down, because if you've ever seen this couple in action, they do a lot of business around the city. Danielle has a lot going on, but Mr. JP is right there. And I had a very pivotal conversation with him once while we were at dinner, and I'm thinking, oh, the masculine man has to be this alpha male who's coming in to take control of everything. And I'm like, what about everything that I've built? There are a lot of women that are like me, that may be single, that have, built the lives that they wanted. And now how do I make room for a man? And he said something that really like changed and elevated my mindset. Y'all ready for this? He said the masculine man can come in and be support. Leadership can be support.
100%.
100%. Okay,
100%.
So that changed my
That
mind.
is so true.
That is so good, right?
That is so true,
yes.
man. I mean, that's all. Just be there.
Yes. See, I told you. Listen, one conversation with them can really change their mind. So we are looking forward to more from y'all. I'm not just saying that. I really want more from y'all. We're gonna have y'all back as guests. But again, thank you all for tuning in to Doc and Mike. Please like, love, share our podcast. Let's expand our platform and heal and touch more lives. Thank you.
Don't forget to comment.
Yes, please.
We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Good, bad, or ugly.
Good,
we want to hear from you.
We want to hear it all. Let's have a conversation about this in the comments. I know we have some other things that are coming out as well. Some of the conversations that we've stirred. We're definitely stirring the pot. Right, we're definitely stirring a pot, and I'm so
in a good way. We're stirring in the good stuff.
In a good way. We are uncovering all of the things that our blind spots, places that we need to heal, not just in our own community, but exposing how your community operates, how mine operate. How can we come together? How can we bridge the gap? How can we elevate all of our thinking and create a safe space for all sides to be heard? So please comment. Share your mindset, share your thoughts, share what you want to hear from us next and what questions you have. Like, love, share. Thank you for tuning in to Doc and Mike on the Aware Black Woman podcast.